Hey guys, this is Steven. I'm back with another edition from American Pizza Books, and today I'm coming at you with a book review of Ghost Road Blues by Jonathan Maberry. Now, I found out about this book. It's actually a trilogy by Jonathan Maberry, but I found out about Jonathan Maberry through a few videos that I've watched, and then I looked up his books on Amazon, and I knew that he wrote like the Joe Ledger series and like science fiction and zombies and stuff like that, and I'm interested in checking that out too, but I found out that he wrote this horror trilogy, which is like with vampires and stuff, so that really interested me. So I decided to check out this trilogy. Now I do have all three books, and I have read this first book. I finished it a little less than a month ago, and I wanted to give my thoughts on this book, because upon finishing it, I felt like it was pretty good, but then as I thought on more about it, I kind of find that I have a few problems with this book. So I'm just going to give you a review here, and I'm going to split it into two parts. I'm going to tell you the good, and then I'm going to tell you the bad, in my opinion. And just remember, this is all my opinion. This is all purely opinion-based, so if you don't agree, that's fine. You know, this is just all my opinion. So, yeah, I'll talk about the good first, then talk about the bad. So, starting with the good stuff, I believe this was his first ever published work as far as like fiction goes, because I did some research on him. Apparently Jonathan Maberry actually wrote books before, but they were always like non-fiction about martial arts and stuff like that, kind of like self-help books and stuff. But he had never actually wrote fiction, and this was his first fiction book. So as far as, you know, as for a debut novel, the writing is, I consider the writing, as you know, is pretty good in my opinion. Like, you know, as far as like a debut fiction novel goes. Also, I think that Jonathan Maberry in this book is really good because the plot takes place in this town called Pine Deep, and Pine Deep is all about its scares and everything. And the setting in this book, it's around like late September, early October, so Halloween is right around the corner. And there's a bunch of like decorations, and one of the main characters, Malcolm Crowe, works at the Halloween store where he sells like costumes and gags and stuff like that for Halloween. So it's really kind of like an attraction town where people come and go on. There's a hayride too that Crowe runs, and that's run there. So it's really very much an attraction town. And just the way that Jonathan Maberry just describes the town and the details and descriptions and everything is very, very good, very beautiful. So I think that as far as like describing the town and description and details, I think Jonathan Maberry is very gifted at that when it comes to this book. Another thing, I like how he's setting up the overall plot, because this book is very much foundational. Like, it's very much a foundational book. It's just kind of setting everything up, so it is kind of slow. But I like that it's kind of like a slow burn as far as like the plot goes, because it's at the end it's hinted that it's going to be kind of like a 30 Days of Night or like a Salem's Lot-esque type of plot, where it's going to be like vampires and vampires sort of taking over the town, because there were a few characters that had visions of, it seemed like it was visions of the future of the town, and everything was just in chaos, and there were bodies everywhere, so it seems like it's going to be a story about vampires taking over this town and everything. So that's really cool. So the plot I really like, and the description, the details, and just the prose is pretty good. So all of those things I really liked, and the action scenes were pretty well written, which isn't a surprise, since apparently Jonathan Maberry studied martial arts a lot and stuff and wrote books about martial arts. So that wasn't surprising, but the action scenes are pretty well written. Now, those are the good things I found about this book. On to the bad things. Now, I feel like, for me and a lot of other readers, I feel like a make or break thing for a book or a story is the characters. Like, excuse me, you can have a good plot, but mediocre characters, or you can have really good characters and a plot that really isn't that special. And for me, I think I would prefer a story with good characters and a plot that might not be that great. And with this book, I feel like a lot of the characters really, I feel like a lot of them are very one-dimensional. I don't really feel really that attached to any of them, really. I feel like the characters that really have any type of development or depth to them is the main character, Malcolm Crowe, and the mayor of the town, Terry Wolfe, and those two are like best friends. So I feel like those two are really the only ones that have any real depth to them. They're the only ones that I felt really any sort of attachment to. But other than those two, I really feel like the characters in this book really aren't that developed or really that memorable, or I don't know, I just feel like a lot of them are very one-dimensional. And I know this is a trilogy, so maybe the characters will get more developed in the next books, but for now, I feel like the characters really kind of fall flat. And then some characters just come off as really unlikable to me for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but like I feel like some of these characters are supposed to be likable, but I just don't like them. And there's really one character in particular that I'm talking about. I'll get to that in a minute, and then the villains just seem really over the top and just kind of I don't know, they seem over the top, and I mean, like, I don't really, I don't really see a lot of motivation except for they're evil for the sake of being evil, or they're just like crazy or whatever. Like with Carl Ruger, who was one of the main villains of the story. Excuse me for the coughing, I've had a little bit of a cold, but Carl Ruger in the story is like this famous like murderer, like this cold-blooded murderer, and people keep bringing up the lighthouse situation, and everyone gets like really just like freaked out when they talk about that, and when they find out that it's Carl Ruger in the town, the one who was responsible for that murder, everyone's just like, oh my god, and they're taking it real seriously. And I don't think Carl Ruger is an entirely uninteresting character, but I feel like he was just very over the top. Some of the dialogue just was really kind of like, it was kind of cheesy. Or I don't know if I'd say cheesy, but it just felt, again, just over the top. There's other villains, like there's Vic Wingate, who is the stepfather to Mike Sweeney. I think that's his last name. Mike is a 14-year-old boy in the book, and it's hinted that he's going to have a bigger role in the next few books, and he's connected to the main the main antagonist of the story. But he is the stepfather, and he's an alcoholic, and I couldn't feel like it was just kind of like a cliche, because Vic Wingate is the alcoholic stepfather who is abusive and beats his kids and his wife and everything, and I don't know, I don't feel like we really get to know a lot about him, and I just don't know, his character felt very cliche. Another villain is Tow Truck Eddie, and he's very much like a religious fanatic. He claims that God is telling him to go out and do these things. He does a few very gruesome things, and again, I feel like it's, you got the over the top like fanatic religious person, and then you got the the abusive alcoholic. So it's just, I don't know, they both felt kind of like cookie cutter characters, I don't know, cardboard cutout characters. And then to the character that I really didn't like, there is Val. Now Val is the fiance of one of the main characters, Malcolm Crowe. And she just, I don't know what it is about her, but she just did not come off as likable to me at all. Like, she actually came off as kind of like a bitch, because I remember there was one particular scene where she was talking to her father, who I believe his name is Henry, and they were talking about, at one point they were talking about Malcolm Crowe and his friendship with Terry Wolfe. And she was like, and she said something like, "Oh, I wish that he wouldn't hang around him so much that he wouldn't be friends with him." And Henry even said, "Well, you can't control, you can't be controlling of who you're, you can't be controlling of who your husband hangs out with." So I don't know. She came off as just kind of, I don't know. Like I said, she came off as kind of a bitch to me. I know that probably might be, a lot of other people might think differently, but she just didn't come off as very likable to me. And also, her sister-in-law, Connie, who was married to her brother Mark, she doesn't like Connie. Like, their personalities just don't gel well, I guess. But there's one passage where she's just talking really badly about Connie. It's like, I haven't even been introduced to Connie yet, and there's no reason there kind of is, but there's no real reason as to why she dislikes her so much. And it's just like, well, goddamn, what did she ever do to you? I mean, Jesus. So she just comes off as kind of a bitch to me, and I don't know, it's really hard for me to get any sympathy from her, because a certain character that means a lot to her dies, and it's supposed to be like this really sad thing, but the thing is that I don't really feel anything. It's like, well, that sucks, but like, that's kind of how I felt. I was just like, that sucks, but you know. And plus, the character that ends up dying wasn't really that well developed enough for me to really care, so, you know, I don't know. It's just like, one of the main flaws of this book, I feel, is just the characters all around. Like, a few of them are decently developed, I guess, but most of them just feel very just one-dimensional, very cookie-cutter. And that might be another problem with this book, is it has so many characters. Like, there are so many characters in this book, and I feel like maybe it might be a bit too many for John to handle, you know. But, you know, like I said, it's a trilogy, so maybe the characters will become better developed. And then I guess there's the dialogue. Now, the dialogue wasn't always bad. Like, it was decent half the time, but the other half the time I just felt like the dialogue came off as just very like the villains. Like, over the top, kind of cheesy sometimes, not the best. But this was his first book, and first books aren't always the best, so maybe it improves with the you know, as the books go on in the trilogy. And maybe, I haven't checked out his Joe Ledger novels, so maybe it's better in those books, because a lot of people seem to like his Joe Ledger novels. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the characters, the dialogue, the development of the characters really isn't that strong in this book at all. But the writing, the prose, the descriptions, and the plot are really good, in my opinion, are pretty strong. So, you know. And then also, the relationship between Malcolm and Val, I just can't really get into it. I can't really get invested into it because, again, I don't like Val as a character so far because she just comes off as unlikable to me for some reason. I just don't really like her. And plus, I don't feel like their relationship has really been, like, that developed either. Like, it really just comes off as a relationship built on lust more than anything, really. To me, anyways. Like, it just comes off as a relationship built on, like, lust or whatever. And I get that, like, sex is a big part of, like, relationships, but that's really all it comes off as to me, so I don't know. I apologize for the constant coughing. I'm currently getting over a cold, like I said. But anyways, so overall score for this book, I'd give it like maybe a 3 out of 5, a 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely not a bad book for a first fiction novel, but I feel like the flaws in it keep me from giving it like a 4 out of 5. So it's a decent book. I'll probably continue with the trilogy at some point. I actually got like 12 pages into the second book and I put it down in favor of It by Stephen King, so not really feeling it right now. But I'll continue with it eventually. So yeah, 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. So that's my review for Ghost Road Blues by Jonathan Maberry. Let me know what you think, and that'll be it for this one. So I'll be back at you guys soon, hopefully with more videos. And yeah, so keep on reading, subscribe if you want to, comment, let me know your opinions, and yeah, so peace, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.